had something written on it.
Okay.
I couldn't make it out.
It's recording.
Let me flip around.
I'm Haley, and I'm doing a persuasive speech on school shootings. So first off, the school building is supposed to be a safe space for children to go, and that's what most people think when they send their children to school. But then you have tragedies like school shootings occur, and things happen, and it can be a parent's worst nightmare. It can happen to anyone. It can happen at any school, universities, any kind of educational system it can happen at. I know about it because I went to a public school, and we had several serious threats of it whenever we were in high school. So first off, we'll be discussing what a school shooting is, some causes of them, how we can work to prevent school shootings, and where we can find the resources to inform people about it. So first off, what a school shooting is, defined by Britannica, is a school shooting in the typical sense of the fashion is an event which a student at an educational institution, an elementary, middle, or high school, or college, or university, shoots and injures or kills at least one other student or faculty member on the educational property. One of the biggest examples of it that most everybody knows about is Columbine. It occurred in April of 1999, and down at the bottom right corner is a picture of the people who tragically lost their lives that day. Some of the causes of school shootings can be the Sandy Hook Promise. One of their articles states, in 4 out of 5 school shootings, there were warning signs or somebody had knowledge of what was going on before it occurred. But in these cases, most of the time, people do not speak up and tell somebody that somebody is planning on committing this act of crime. One reason people say school shootings happen is bullying, violent influences like video games, movies, being around violent people can institute it, or they're trying to copycat other people who have committed the crimes, like in Florida, or the one that happened in Columbine, or just any other educational institute shooting that has occurred. Some of the preventions is you want to act early on. You want to intervene early, because if not, the longer it sits and idles in their mind, the more likely it is to occur. Because they start looking at how they can get their weapons, how they're going to plan it, when they're going to do it, and who they may choose to be their victims. The first skill in helping prevent this from happening on PBS's list is teaching emotional skills. Because what happens is a lot of these people are mentally disturbed, and they act on these thoughts in their head. But if emotional skills are taught, they can self-regulate and learn that these are bad things to do and that they should not act on them. The first subtitle on the Center for Violence Prevention's article starts with school climate. If somebody has been ridiculed by their peers and school classmates, they may decide to take matters into their own hands if the school has not acted on itself, and they may choose to go the radical route of a school shooting instead of just something like a minor altercation. In the bottom right hand corner, in the past 4 years, there's some statistics. 2,618 schools and gun-related incidents happened in the U.S. There was 151 deaths, 353 injuries, and the bottom suggests some things that the government has implemented, teaching in schools to help in case of a school shooting occurring. Typically, they suggest to evacuate the building, or or hide somewhere in a classroom or somewhere secure and lock the doors. And if a school shooter or an intruder has penetrated the school building or the classroom or wherever these students are hiding, they suggest to fight. They suggest throwing books, whatever they can get their hands on, to try to disarm the attacker or to inhibit him from causing harm to the students or the faculty. The next slide is some of the effects that school shootings cause. It can cause trauma or PTSD in the students and the families. It causes fear, and a lot of times it's unjustified fear after the fact. And it causes loss of multiple innocent lives that had nothing to do with what has occurred to the student. But, and the effects range further than just these. It ripples across the nation, it can ripple across the world, and it can cause just more hysteria than what it should. But you can find resources on how to prevent school shootings and things that have occurred in school shootings. School shooting resources can be found in schools, counseling offices, or even online. Like the National Child Traumatic Stress Network gives an extensive list of articles and resources for parents and students to view. And that's more excited. But in conclusion, these acts can be prevented and they should be prevented, but we have to remember we have to act early on. We have to try to prevent these the best we can, and preventing them, we have to inform these students on how to prevent them, giving them resources and making sure it is known that they can prevent these things from occurring, even if it means speaking up against one of their own friends. But overall, these things should not happen, and we can prevent them from happening.
I feel like Haley's gonna beat you up.